Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with some more Millennium Fiendsmith Orcust. This is the deck that I've definitely been laddering with the most off camera. Well, actually no, on Ryziel I've been playing a little bit more, but that was actually more last week. This week I've been playing a lot more Orcust, and actually pretty quickly in one little play session today just shot up to Master Rank. So thought I'd show you some of the games from that here. Starting with this duel here up against Gem Knight. We're going to lose the coin flip, but they're going to let us go first, which indicates to me that they are, of course, going second deck. And retroactively, knowing they're on Gem Knight, they're going to be the OTK build, not playing the Fiendsmith stuff. So, fortunately, we had counters to both Maxi and Fuelos here. That is going to leave us a little bit light in the hand, but that's actually fine. One thing I kind of debated here was if I wanted to go into Nightmare Mermaid or not. And in hindsight, I think I definitely should have, because I could have not only cycled in the Orcust Nightmare, but far more importantly, I would have discarded Fabled Lurie. I could have gotten my Fiendsmith engine online. So I think I did miss out on that here, but it would have also, I don't know, it would have left me with fewer options later in the duel, you could argue, on like a follow-up turn. There's pros and cons, right? Also plays into Nibiru a lot more, but again, there's like pros and cons to making the play there. So I decided to play it safe here and just save my Fabled Lurie and other resources for later and just try to do some pretty typical Orcust stuff. Although I think I screwed up the combo line at some point here, because I should have been able to end on the Enlil Girsu plus the IP Masquerena. You know what it was? Because I'm able to take the token here, but my other remaining body is going to be the Galatea Eye effect, because I didn't use that earlier. That's how I misplayed. Yeah, I should have used Galatea Eye's effect earlier in the turn, rather than... I think I revived to a Symbol Skeleton or something, so I should have definitely been able to end on IP here. That was just a misplay on my part. What can I say when you're watching YouTube while laddering? it's my excuse, because it's what I always do. It's a bad practice of mine, but do as I say, not as I do. They're going to call by the Girsu here, and then also droplet the Enlil, or the Ding, rather. They're going to call by the Ding Girsu, and then they're going to droplet the Enlil Girsu. That kind of tells me they really, really want me to use my face down card, which they know is Crescendo. So I'm going to not. I'm definitely not going to use that just yet. I'm going to let my stuff get banished. I will chain the Enlil Girsu, so that way I'm able to, you know, get some advantage off of it. They're going to flip up Scatter Fusion, but I'm actually not going to negate that because I've had so many games against Gem Knight where you negate Scatter Fusion only for them to play Brilliant Fusion, so I decided to just wait later in the turn and negate whatever they would summon later off the Brilliant Fusion anyway. Armadillo for Hollow Core, this is all fine, I'm not really too concerned about that. Gem Knight Fusion, yep, that's fine. Now here they're going to link into the Phantom Quartz. But curiously, they actually did not activate the on-link summon effect. If they had, I think this is the point where I would have crescendoed them. They would have still had plays though, because they still could have added back the Gem Knight Fusion and potentially fused these into something. I'm not too familiar with Gem Knight, so I'm not sure what they could have gone into, but I think that was still the right call either way, to crescendo this and stop both the search and the fusion effect. But I think they must have misclicked because they didn't actually activate the on-search effect. And then right afterward, they just linked into another Phantom Quartz. So this one, they go to activate the on-summon effect, and this one I'm going to crescendo. And now they're really left with nothing, because now even though they can still get back Gem Knight Fusion, they only have one monster left on the field. And yeah, they can battle over my Enlil Girsu, but so what? I have, you know, all kinds of follow-up plays. So yeah, if I'd played better, obviously I should have had an IP there, and I should have had one more disruption on the board, which would have made taking care of that duel a lot simpler. But, you know, at least it shows us a little more opportunity to demonstrate how you don't want to necessarily use your disruption all right away. Like, this is something that I don't see people talk about a lot, is like the timing of disruption. It's really important, right? It would have been so easy for me to crescendo the Scatter Fusion or something else, but I feel like waiting definitely was smarter there. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you my next game here. So this will be a brief one-turn duel, because I wanted to show mostly comboing from unlikely hands. I think that last hand we actually started with just the Golem and nothing else, or is that this duel? Okay, this duel we're going to start with Lacrima plus Wedju Temple. Yeah, there are a ton of hands in this deck where you'll open like a hand like this, you know, Lacrima, Wedju Temple, and a bunch of hand traps, or you'll open like Golem that guards the Millennium Gates and, you know, no other engine, and you'll still just be able to full combo anyway. I think the latter hand is actually one we're going to see later. But in this case here, Lacrima plus Temple, we're going to go Lacrima into the Fiendsmith's Requiem, Requiem F to tribute in order to summon out the Engraver. Now we can go the effect of our other Engraver that we sent off the Lacrima that we initially summoned. And then we can use the two of these in order to make Sequence. Now, of course, Appaloosa's banned, but even if it weren't, you still wouldn't want to go into an Appaloosa or turn everything into something like an Abalaku here, because we're actually going to need our Sequence as a link material to keep making our plays. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make Caesar here, using Fiendsmith's Lacrima plus Engraver. And now that we've done that, now I'm going to use the Wedju Temple. I'll activate it to place the Fuelos in my spell trap zone, Sengenjin for the Golem, and I'm actually going to link the Sequence plus the Sengenjin into the Nightmare Phoenix. And then, of course, from there we're going to go Nightmare Phoenix into Nightmare Mermaid. And that is how you pivot from all of your various engines, you know, back into your Orcust stuff. So my opponent's going to surrender at this point. Again, it's just a brief one-turn duel as they realize that I can now go full combo with the Caesar already on the field. But I didn't activate the Golem or use it right away because we would actually still need it as discard material, right? I would have got Nightmare Mermaid discard Nibiru, use that to summon Orcust Nightmare, then link it to Galatea Eye, and then I would have Galatea Eye discarded the Golem to get Orchestrated Babel. And then, of course, from there we can just proceed into full Orcust combo, again with the Caesar up. But let's show another game where we can start off that way. Let's see, it might have been this duel against Branded. Let's take a look and see here. This is another going first game, but I'm trying to see if this is the one where you open Golem and nothing else. Pretty sure it is, actually. It is, yep. So, again, Golem for non-engine, actually just full combo. We're going to use the Golem and then activate in order to summon and then add the Wedju Temple. We can activate Wedju Temple. Once again, I'm going to place Fuelos because, of course, I'm going first and there's no reason to keep it in hand. And again, I'm going to hold off on placing the Sengenjin just yet and summoning the Snake Eyes Doom Dragon because I'm going to go into Fiendsmith stuff first. That way I can establish the Caesar, have a play against Nibiru, or to counter Nibiru, rather. Same difference, I guess. And then from there, we can then, you know, pivot into our full Orcust engine. And we're going to use the Sengenjin going into Doom Dragon to do that, but yeah, like I said, first I wanted to get my Caesar online before I just started throwing bodies on the board. That's a really common way that I do see a lot of people on ladder that I play against misplay, is that they'll have like a starter plus an extender, or even just, you know, a line like this where you can go starter into an extender, but rather than like layering their, you know, or sequencing their plays so that they're layering their summons, they just put everything out at once and then link or overlay or fuse into stuff. And you definitely want to be using as few bodies as possible on the board, right? Holding back until at least the point where you can get to where you can counter a Nibiru. So yeah, we're going to use the Sengenjin in hand with the Fuelos in the Spell Trap Zone to make the Doom Dragon, link that off with the Nightmare, or with the the Fiendsmith sequence, and then go into our Nightmares with that. Alright, now we can summon the Galatea Eye. Galatea Eye gets to activate here, send the Droll and Lockbird, add the Orchestrated Babel. We can always just place that over the Wedju Temple. You don't care about losing Wedju Temple, ever. Alright, Orcust Nightmare dumps Harp Horror. Now we can Harp Horror to revive, or rather, summon the Gearsu directly from deck. Gonna cycle the World Wand into the graveyard with Gearsu, because I haven't, you know, got that in yet. Now, of course, we're gonna make Link to Galatea, use that to put the World Wand back into our deck. This is a very important step in the Orcust game plan, by the way, particularly for just making sure that we have resources for follow-up / grind games. And that's using the Galatea to put World Wand back in the deck, and then Ding Gearsu to attach the Orcust Nightmare as a material. It's very important because if you end up in a situation where those are both banished, you don't have access to them, you're going to be really sad. Now here I did have to make IP in order to go into Enlil Girsu, because I didn't have another Orcust card, so I could banish, the summon Galatea Eye. But that's fine, because I wouldn't be able to make IP on this board anyway, and now it comes with the bonus of my Enlil Girsu can't be destroyed by card effects, so... yeah, opponent decided they didn't want to play into this board, but rather than just surrender, they timed me out. So, boo this person. And don't worry, I definitely reported them for that. But anyway, let's show off at least one more game here before we end. Or we're not going to end the video at that. We'll show the deck list and then, yeah, let's do it that way. How about a going second game for our last duel? Going second game against Maliss. Now, thankfully, and spoiler alert, thankfully for me, they did kind of brick a little bit. But I did have a Fulos in my hand, even if they didn't. But no, they're just going to go set one pass. Yep. I remember this because this was actually my rank up games in Master 1. Spoiler alert, we're going to win this. Got the Maxi here. Going to go Fiendsmith Tract for the Fabled Lurie. Then pitch Lurie. And when we go to summon Lurie, they're going to go Droll and Lockbird, which, as you may or may not know, is completely fine for us. The only thing this stops is Galatea Eye's search, but you can still set Orchestrated Babble off link to Galatea. So the only thing when it comes to Orcust, the only thing Droll and Lockbird will ever stop is you being able to set Orcust Crescendo, which obviously, if I'm going second, I don't care about. So their face down card ended up being a call by. They're going to use that on my Fiendsmith's Secret, or Requiem rather. Again, this is why you would want to start with your Fiendsmith engine rather than just start with normal summon Girsus, because if they had called by my Heart Pourer, I would have been a lot more sad. Now, this is somebody who I think was throwing out their Disruption way too early, because they're using the Impulse on the Girsu token summoning effect. I definitely think they should have waited and used that on Heart Pourer, because Heart Pourer lets me access the rest of my engine, right? Like, if they had gone Impulse on the Heart Pourer, well, honestly, here, if they would have activated Impulse, I would have summoned token Galatea Eye, discard World Wand for the field spell. Then, if I would have gone to use Heart Pourer effect, they could have Impulsed, and then I would have just had Galatea Eye and Girsu to work with, not much else. But since they stopped the token, I can just go Heart Pourer into full combo anyway. Summoning Orcust Nightmare, we're going to link the two of these into Link 2 Galatea. Not going into Link 1 Galatea just yet because, of course, we're under Droll and Lockbird. So I'm going to put the Symbol Skeleton in the graveyard because World Wand is in my hand. Shuffle back the Nightmare, and then, yeah, that's where they're going to concede. So, all in all, just another way of showcasing how Orcust is not just, like, able to push through a lot of hand traps when it comes to Droll and Lockbird, one of the more powerful ones in this meta, it's just straight up immune. Let me go ahead and show you the deck list now because I have changed it around a little bit. Okay, so here is the deck list. I have changed both the main and extra deck around a little bit. Extra deck, the only difference is that I used to be on Zombie Vampire, but I realized that I was literally never summoning it because there's not really a reason to, because Nightmare Mermaid is in Master Duel, and as a result, we can always just go into this and never have to gamble. So I decided to try Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord instead. I haven't summoned it yet, but the idea is that if I open, like, Girsu plus Sengenjen or something like that, or even Sengenjen plus, like, Tract, I could go lead my plays with Sengenjen, make the Photon Lord, and then follow up with whatever else I have to go into, like, my actual full combo, right? Again, similar to the idea of making a Caesar by pivoting into Fiendsmith mid-combo. So, that's the idea. Hasn't come up yet, but there are other things you could play as well. I've seen a lot of people on Dark, which makes sense. Not only is the mirror match everywhere, but this is obviously good against Mitsurugi. Maliss monsters are all Dark, so that's not bad. If you're playing Dark, it's not a bad idea to consider Access Code as well, as Dark will let you easily go into Access Code, which is just another way to easily OTK, but I'm not playing it in my extra deck just because I don't think it's really necessary. Even in other builds where I have more room in my extra deck, I still really don't ever find myself summoning an Access Code Talker. So, yeah, as far as our Fiendsmith stuff, it's basically all kind of serving to go into Caesar. I think another card in the extract you could definitely consider for the Fiendsmith engine is a Aku. This card is definitely not bad at all, but again, I would rather, in pretty much every line where I'm using Fiendsmith, I would rather use it not towards the end of my line to set up something like this, but rather in the middle of my line, setting up a Caesar as well as a body to go into Phoenix, then Mermaid. For the main deck, I mostly just adjusted the off engine a little bit, and I realized in doing so that this is actually, like, alongside Onomatopoeia Raizio, like, one of the more consistent decks in the meta right now, as this build has 16 starters and 16 hand traps as well. In this deck, I define a starter as anything that can get you to at least Nightmare Mermaid, if not just being outright full combo itself. So if you're wondering what your starters in this deck are, it's Fabled Luri, Harp Horror, we're playing 2 of those, Gearsu, 3 of those, so that's 6, right? Lacrima is 7, Golem is 8, Engravers make 10, Sengen Gens make 13, Foolish Burial is 14, Tract is 15, and then Wedju Temple is 16. And that's for, like, full combo, right? Because even then, you could also, in theory, open Symbol Skeleton, and then normal summon it, link off into Galatea Eye, and then Galatea Eye for World Crown. Now, at that point, you are giving up, at the very least, Crescendo, but that's still 2 bodies to then pivot into, if you want to, like, Fiendsmith and then Nightmare Mermaid to go into, yeah, that whole engine. So you could even count this as a 17th starter. And then for hand traps, we have 2 Droll plus 2 Maxi is 4, plus 3 Ash is 7, plus 3 Fua is 10, plus our Bestials is 12, plus Nib is 13, plus our Imperms, that makes 16. So one of the more consistent decks in this metagame. I actually kind of think Orcust, like this particular version of Orcust, might actually just be the best deck in the meta. Like, nobody's playing Lancia anymore, immune to Droll, which everybody's on, and can adjust its off engine to pretty favorably counter whatever ends up being meta, right? So, all in all, I think that Orcust is very, very strong right now. I think this build's biggest weakness might just be not having an out to, like, Liger Dancers, but even then, it's like, whatever. On Ranked Ladder, that doesn't really matter. You can just surrender those games. It's fine. You can still make Master, Master 1, whatever, very easy. In any case, thank you very much for checking out these games and my build here. Yeah, let me go ahead and just move on now to the outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.